Well, we were on a 3-game heater, but the Dallas Stars, one of the league's best 3 teams, technically best 2 teams, came to town and made sure to put an end to that. We'll talk about it on this episode of View from Outside the Tank. Well, the result wasn't what we were hoping for, but I will say if you had told me 11 days ago that the Sharks would put up this kind of fight against Dallas so close to the beatdown that they got in Dallas, I would have not believed you for sure. Played really strong. Obviously some lapses just like there are any other game. We're a young team, but you know what? What I've realized is for all those that were upset or didn't understand the Warsawski hiring or whatever it happens to be, and I can't give him 100% credit for this. I know a lot of it has to do with Mac and his inclusion in the team and what he's become. But 2 years ago, 3 years ago, under David Quinn, even just before that, under, I think it was Bugner before him, if we got down by 2 goals at any point, it would have automatically been a collapse where we just cave in and, probably lose by 3 or 4 instead of losing by 2, and definitely don't put in any effort to try to get back into the game. And like I said, whether it's because of Warsawski or Celebrini or both, or just the overall mentality of the team, we're a different team now. And we will play till the final buzzer regardless. And that is another one of those little signs that the future indeed is teal. If we are playing till the final buzzer every single time, eventually we're going to have more talent than the other teams, where now we're going to be winning by 3 and 4 goals instead of losing by 3 and 4 goals. It wasn't a perfect game. They never are. But we showed some real resiliency, and there are definitely some things that we can take away from this game. If you had asked me on the day of the Chernyshov call up whether I thought he was going to stick around, my answer would have been no. Not because I don't think he's good enough, but because generally that's what we do with the young kids. We bring them up, we give them a little taste of the show, and we send them back down. And now I'm at the point where I don't know that you can. Again, his game's not perfect. He still needs to do little things, mostly away from the puck better, although he is a pretty good forechecker. He's got good speed. He's got good reach. So he's doing some of those things, and credit Mac on this for sure, because I know he makes everybody around him better. But we're playing Graf, who realistically is a third line guy. He's got the scoring talent. He scored enough in college where he's got the scoring talent to be above that, but he's probably a third line guy. And we've got Chernyshov, who 12 months ago, less than 12 months ago, was playing in the OHL. And they have gotten to the point where they are the top line on our team. And they are good enough as the top line that Warsawski doesn't have to worry about putting theoretically better players up on that line. He doesn't have to worry about putting Eklund on that line or Toffoli on that line. So now all of a sudden your second line is Wenberg, Toffoli, and Eklund, which is a perfectly good second line. Then we move down to the third line, and you've got Cardwell, who's filling in, but he's looked good. Again, a couple mistakes. He's still a young kid. He's trying to, I feel like he's at the point in his career where he's trying to make a name so he sticks around. And that's what causes little mistakes. But his speed, his intensity with the forecheck, he is going to cause problems for the other team. And I will not step away from this. He is the future third line right wing for the San Jose Sharks. I believe it with every fiber of my being. And then you go down to the fourth line, and we knew going into the season that we didn't expect anything out of Revo. He was just going to be the muscle. Well, we all looked at it as he's just going to be the muscle that they bring in. And, every few games they send him out there to remind people that they can't just run our young kids. Well, it's been completely different. First of all, he's put the mentality in the kids that they aren't allowed to get run. So they are actually playing heavier hockey, even though they're not heavy guys, which is important. He has brought the shark necklace for the player of the game thing, but sort of galvanized the entire room just with his presence and made them a tighter group that really fights for each other. And then thirdly, he's actually kind of good. Like in a team that is currently vying for a Stanley Cup playoff berth, he is a serviceable fourth line guy. I wish he had a little more scoring punch. But in the greater scheme of things, like it's almost like he's got his legs back. His forecheck's way better. He's the guy that does play heavy and separates people from the puck. There was a puck stoppage along the boards at one point, and once he realized that nobody's stick was going to get the puck out of there, he just moved the man. And it's things like that and examples like that he can set for the young guys. It's huge. But aside from him on the fourth line, Zach Ostapchuk, I'll go backwards to a few episodes ago where people look at the Zetterlund trade as a loss or a wash. I don't think it is. I think we win that trade. And I think we win that trade because Zetterlund is the type of guy that has to be first or second line, at worst third line. And I don't think with the guys that we have up and coming up that he is that. But we got a guy back with speed and size that can be our fourth line center of the future. And he's not perfect. He's still working on it. But as long as his expectation and he knows that he's going to be that fourth line center guy, like he's a really good pickup. And so if we can give him some size and speed around him, all of a sudden our fourth line becomes a positive, like a net positive, not just, a positive in that they're not horrible. Like they have the opportunity with him and a couple other guys, potentially, if you get the right guys, to be a line that puts up 30 goals in a season. The whole line, not like each guy, but like if you can get 30 goals out of your fourth line in a season, you're doing okay. And they play strong defense and you don't feel bad about sending them out. And I think that's the big thing for me is you look at last night's game. When it got to the point where Warsawski needed some spark, where he needed some energy in the line, where he needed to change the momentum a little bit, he sent out the fourth line. Like our top three lines were playing good, but they just bring that different energy and spark and really give life to the rest of the lineup by going out there and just playing it fast and heavy. And they were doing such a good job at it. But I get excited about it because there's all those little things. Now you get into the actual plays and things that happen and goals and whatnot. Mook playing a shot from the blue line, that's exactly what you need. It doesn't matter. Like if you back it up, I don't think that shot's going on net. I think that because he hit the skate of the Dallas defender, that's the only thing that would have put it on net, and that's what gets us the goal. But there's a certain we haven't done for a long time. There's a certain thing we haven't done for a long time, which is basically that just put pucks on net. Put pucks in the direction of the net. Anything can happen once it gets there. And especially in a situation like that, right off the faceoff, there's a whole lot of bodies there. Literally anything can happen. There's no harm in doing that. The only thing that can happen negatively from that is if you miss so bad that you hit a guy close up to you and it bounces into the neutral zone and all of a sudden they've got an odd man break the other way. But that doesn't happen that frequently. And to me, it's just get the pucks on. If it doesn't get all the way through, maybe it gets to the stick of one of your other guys that's net front. Who knows what's going to happen. But it turns into a goal, and good for him. Like he needs those good vibes because he's not playing bad. And again, I don't think he's not playing because of the quality of his play. Sure, a little bit of that just because he's a rookie and still learning some things. Fine. But I think that he is not playing because they feel they need to put guys out there to give them trade value, because Greer doesn't want to send guys away for a 7th round pick. Like, that has no value to us. Like, how many times are you going to come across a, Joe Pavelski? Like, you're not. So instead of getting 7th round picks back, they're trying to get some guys out there and build up that quality so we can get a better pick back. But that play by Mook was exactly what you want. Get the puck, take a step or two, throw it at net, see what happens. And it turned into a goal. Next 2 goals are, again, the magic of Macklin. For Macklin to take the face off, push, instead of pull back to his defender, push it through the opposing center's legs, get the puck, dance down south of the goal line, and then take 2 steps back up and whip it across to Graf, who's there and uncovered, basically, for the opportunity to have 2 whacks at it and get his goal is amazing. And again, this goes back to the Graf thing. Like, 2 whacks at a shot is, I know this sounds bad, but that's like a 3rd line guy. It's not a 1st line guy. Like, a 1st line guy is a sniper. He finishes on the first one. And so, but seeing that drive and seeing him finish it and make sure that he scores is a big deal. Now, you go to the next goal, and it shows the brilliance, well, not the brilliance, but the importance of Celebrini and the talent of the other 2 guys on that line, because they get the turnover, get snapped up to Chernisov, whatever. I'll get it. Chernisov. There it is. They get it up to him. He gets his own entry, which is great. Drops back to Macklin and just moves forward. All of a sudden, he's got the puck. He comes across, again, south of the goal line, and then fires a pass back up to Graf, who's breaking and completely uncovered because it was a 3-on-3, and all 3 defenders tried to stop Macklin from doing whatever he was going to do. And all of a sudden, you had basically a 2-on-none once he whipped the pass down to Chernisov. But just a simple tic-tac-toe play. And that's a thing, over the last few years we don't see. There was that one power play last year that was like that. But realistically, tic-tac-toe plays were not in our game plan because the guys just weren't good enough to do it. And so we're seeing that quality really come through. And I think that where I thought Chernisov was an automatic send down as soon as everybody was healthy, now I'm not so sure. Maybe he isn't on the top line with Celebrini anymore because they put Smith back up there. Or maybe they put Smith with Winnie for a little while and see what happens. I don't know. But right now, you'd be hard-pressed to take a guy with that kind of size and speed and reach and hockey sense and goal-scoring ability and say, thanks, go back down to the AHL and keep working on it. Maybe they do. Maybe they do because they want to make sure that he gets his ice time while they work on trades to get some of the less used forwards out. Or maybe they send him back down to the AHL because their goal is, hey, we're going to take a run at winning the AHL championship. And then next year, we're going to take some of those guys that have that winning mentality and bring them up. I don't know. But yeah, I just don't know how you send him down now. And I know they're going to send Cardwell back down. And I get that. Like, 3rd line guys, we've got 3rd line guys. That's not a big deal. He doesn't necessarily need to be up with the big club. It's better that he gets more ice time and gets more PK time and all that down there. But you could keep both of them up for the duration of the season and we'd be just as good, if not better than we are now, I feel like. But yeah, to do that, obviously the Ned pass from behind the net, I get it. I get that they had the walls sealed off and he had to go up the middle somehow. And unfortunately, Wenberg was a little too much in the middle. And so then that pass ends up on the tape of the Dallas Stars player, and he's got a clean look, pretty much dead on at the net. And not something you want to see, and obviously a mistake. And he's probably even more sick by the fact that that ends up being the game-winning goal. But I guess that's my thing, is like, our losses anymore are based on just really random mistakes instead of being bad at hockey. And so that sucks. And that sucks that, in reality, that's probably a big part of why we lose. Although you can't say that if that doesn't happen, that we still score the goal we scored and it would have made it 3-3. Who knows? Maybe we lose 4-2 instead of 5-3. But it's good. It's starting to come together. I expect them to be flying again against Seattle on Saturday, especially because, now they've got a taste for it. You're coming off a 3-game winning streak. You play one of the best teams in the league and hold your own, outshoot them, which it's not very frequently that we outshoot other teams. Second most shots we've taken in a game so far this season now. Granted, we've lost both of those games, but still, it's nice to see them outshoot somebody from time to time. And, we played a good game. And so I fully expect us to come out flying on Saturday against the Kraken. And God willing, I can see a game like this in Vegas on Tuesday when we line up against the Golden Knights and hopefully finally get a regular season win against them. But that's all for this episode. Like I said, trying to run in some more episodes, quicker episodes, hopefully more post-game shows where either the night of or the morning after I'm doing sort of a little recap like this. Yeah, that's it. And thank you so much for joining. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Tell all your friends, especially if they're Sharks fans. If they're not Sharks fans, they'll probably hate this show. Who knows? You might hate this show, but tell them about it anyway and let them watch. And we'll see you on the next episode of View from Outside the Tank.